Hi everyone, it's Simon here with a review of Roundguard. Roundguard is Peggle the RPG. It's available on PS4, Nintendo Switch, Xbox One and PC, and it's a PS4 version you see on your screens. Never have I been so lazy with a description, but been so right. And it's a good right to be, actually, for once. This is a genuinely unique experience of mashing up two different types of games into one. And it's so Moorish. You play as one of three different characters, and they all have their different attributes and play styles, and you'll be firing them out of a cannon from the top of the screen. Each screen is a level, and the level is full of loads of treasure chests for you to hit on your way down and bounce off of, and that will collect gold for you to purchase things and raise your score. You'll also have loads of enemies in a room, and that's really the crux of Roundguard. You don't need to hit everything on the way down like Peggle, but what you do have to do is clear all of the enemies, and you'll bounce off of the enemies and hit them with your weapon or your power up depending on what you're using, and then you'll slowly bounce down the bottom of the screen, hit the bottom of the screen, and then go back up for your next shot. Now, once you've cleared all of the enemies, that level is then over and you can move on. But obviously there's striking a balance, basically, to trying to collect as much gold as possible whilst killing all of the enemies and using a lot of the status pots that are about. Red ones replenish your health, blue ones replenish your special ability meter. There's other ones as well that will regen health over time. There's ones that will poison you. There's ones that make you weak, which means that you'll take double damage for the next 3 turns. There's all kinds of different status and ailment effects, just like an RPG. It's just that they're different colour pots instead. Each level is randomly generated, but they all come with an icon, and you'll see the icons on the overworld map, and at the end of each level, because you get given a choice of a couple of different levels to choose next as you progress through your map, you'll kind of see what's coming up next, and they'll give you clues to the toughness of the level, the type of enemy that will be in that level, and also if there's like a crazy level, or the chaos levels as they're called, where things are extra confused and hard. It might be a boss type level, or it could be one where you can actually just collect some new armour, some new weapons, or some new power-ups instead. And those are good ones for relief when you're running low on health or energy, or you're just finding that it's taking too long to do the damage that you need to do, and you're running risk of like dying and ending your run. The game does have a roguelike element as well. So all of your power-ups accumulate over the course of a run, which is great because as you get through more and more levels, and there's plenty of them to get through in a single run, you'll be much more of a powerful character over the course of time, and you really get to shape how your character looks and feels. You start off with 3 bases. One is like your beefy brawn one, and they've got plenty of HP and attack, but not so great on the extra special skills. And for those ones, you'll need precision to bounce off of enemies, because that's how you're going to make your main attack. There's then the rogue, which comes equipped with a bow and arrow to begin with. And so whilst they may not be like the best in terms of HP, you might not want to actually bounce off the enemies, but you might want to fly past them and trigger your special ability so that you can send an arrow in their eye instead. There's a third character as well, which I'll call the Mage, but I don't think it is. And they have spiders running up the sides of the screen, which effectively act like lasers. So you can slide down the middle of the screen and trigger the lasers from the spiders at the right time, and it sends an electrical lightning shock through their web, which can hit enemies from a distance. Again, that character doesn't have nearly as strong HP, but has plenty of special abilities that they can do. Depending on which character you go through, you'll also have different interactions with other characters, because the whole thing kind of takes place on a stage like a play, which is really cute and cool. I quite liked the humour that's involved in the little mini cutscenes in between. It's not going to like rock your world like a soap opera, but it's good tongue-in-cheek humour. And when each run is over and you die, you get to spin a roulette wheel depending on how much gold you've collected at that time. And gold basically unlocks segments of this wheel at different levels of power. So that depending where the wheel stops, you'll either get like no power up that can carry over to the next run for the foreseeable future, a small one, a medium one, or like a really, really powerful one. And that's really, really helpful because that then means that you're starting with a much stronger character next time round. The idea being that each time you continue doing run after run after run, you're going to be able to get further in the game and be more powerful and then total up your score. There is an online leaderboard for showing how you've done well with your scores, but because the levels are randomly generated, I don't think that's necessarily always the best representation of how well you've actually done on your run, because no one's got set levels that they're going through. So just bear that in mind. However, that did not put me off the game in any way, shape or form. It is just as engrossing as Peggle, if not more so, because you have to be strategic. Most of that strategy comes from the fact that when you hit an enemy, they hit you back. So if you're going after a beefy enemy but you've got, say, like a weak status, you don't want to do it because they might take away a third of your health. So you'll be finding other ways to either get to a potion that will boost up your health before you hit them. It might be that if you're playing as the rogue, you need to kind of swing around with a double jump and then do an arrow into them instead. It might be that you want to set off a different potion around them that makes them poisoned instead. There's all different ways and means for you to try and get round and injure people. And it might be that you actually end up collecting passive power-ups at the end of each few levels that mean that each time you hit an enemy, it regenerates some of your health. You choose some of those power-ups. Some of them are done on the roulette wheel spin, but you really do get to decide how your character is shaped and formed from those 3 bases at the beginning. And that makes it so much more personable, because if you're not the best at being accurate with firing out your character, you can design your character to try and make up for that over time. And I was really impressed with the scope and depth of how far you wanted to go with that for what is Peggle the RPG. I picked this up and I thought, oh, do you know what? I'll just play a quick 20 minutes of it. Literally, my first run through of this, I was there 2 hours later, at about 1:30 in the morning, dying and going, oh, I could go again right now. It is really moorish and addictive. And it's come out of nowhere. I didn't know anything about it until I was fortunate enough to spot it on the shop front. So, Roundguard, absolute resounding recommendation from me. Single player only, just to be aware, but you will lose plenty of time into this, just as you did Peggle, and just as you do good roguelites in general. So yeah, go grab it. I think this is going to be a little indie gem that might pass under the radar of a lot of people, particularly at this time of need across the world. Need to escape. This is a very good place to go. Roundguard, out now. Cheers for watching. Hope that was informative. Any comments that you have or questions about the game, leave them down below. A written review is also available over on higherplanegames.com. Bye. Higher Plane Games is part of the Higher Plane Network, a collection of media projects ran by me. If you like what you see and want to find out more, visit patreon.com/higherplane-network. Your support can make so much more possible, be that a like, a comment, a share, or a pledge. Thanks for watching.